Hey everyone, Mitch coming in from the Commander's Core studio. Welcome to the show. So, on today's episode, I've got for you an incredibly exclusive, incredibly elusive, and incredibly holiday-spirity card. Let's jump into it with Eggnogger's Stash. Now, I will say just before, and I never thought I'd have to say this on an episode, at no point in this episode am I referring to an alcoholic beverage, okay? I will just say that once, hopefully, and I don't repeat myself, but that is just a blanket statement for the entire episode, and you'll see why here in a second. Ready? Artifact 4, 5 and a green. This is a Happy Holidays card that comes around, but once a year. We get one of these each year, and it's going to be incredibly expensive. Anyways, land you control have. Tap, refill your mug with a festive drink. If you don't have a mug, go grab a mug. It's the holidays. Top of that, beginning of combat on your turn, if you have a drink stash, which I assume is basically when you have, like, you know, the drink, like, on your upper lip, essentially, just like kind of you drank a bit too much of it, and you've got it on your upper lip. There you go, that's the requirement. You get 2 counters in each creature you control. Here we go. First of all, at the bottom of this card, you will see the acorn symbol, meaning that it is, of course, not a legal card in basically any non-un format. Not even Commander is this a legal card. That being said, is the type of card that you most definitely can and will go ask your friends and those of your LGS, hey, are you okay if I actually have this card in my deck for the holiday spirit? It's quite fun. Yeah, I promise to obey all other rules of Magic, essentially. But yes, being able to ask your friends, ask those of your LGS, there are going to be many out there that are like, oh yeah, sure, play with that card. It's kind of fun anyways. It's not broken or anything like that. And speaking of, well, the specificity of this card and kind of what it does, and legally, I'm sure, I don't think Wizards probably has ever put flavor text for a legal reason, but literally, I think that they did for this one. Blend Dingus egg yolks, milk, Eldraine spice blend, Muragon, and vanilla, and absolutely nothing else. I'm pretty sure that last part literally is on there because they're like, yeah, we're not encouraging you to do this with alcoholic beverages because that is irresponsible. So there you go. That is why earlier I did say, yeah, I'm not at all ever referencing alcoholic beverages, okay? So again, like, the eggnog they're referencing is non-alcoholic, okay? Or, you know, if you have hot cocoa. I mean, you got to be careful with that because hot cocoa is hot. So if you are drinking a bunch of hot cocoa and you're refilling your mug again and again and again, do not burn your mouth, okay? So again, drink your festive beverages responsibly, whatever they are. But again, if you're playing with this card, non-alcoholic, okay? So this is a card that, again, yeah, just ask those at your LGS, ask those at your table, ask your friends if they're okay with it, and maybe also ask if they're okay with you proxying it, because this is going to be a pretty expensive card, because we can take a trip down memory lane, like as you do in the holidays. You're like, oh yes, old holiday times, and what have we seen in the past? And we can see that this card might be pretty expensive because it is an exclusive card, I believe, to Wizards of the Coast people and affiliates, essentially, that, yeah, it's a celebration, but it's also a pretty expensive card because there's only so many printed, essentially. Yeah, let's take a quick look before I talk about what commanders might want to consider this card if you are considering it. First, let's just talk about, again, the potential price factor. Bog Humbugs from 2018 is $23. I'm not going to read through it. All these do, okay? They're clever, they're fun, but I'm not going to read through all they do. Their prices do range quite a bit, though, because Fruitcake Elemental from 2006 is $205. My gosh. Decorated Knight is only $8, though, from 2019. So the prices vary. Yule Ooze, $71 right there. Socking Tiger, $42. Some dissimilar required. Clever name right there. $13. Snow Mercy, $172 from 2010. Thought Deprived Network from 2016, $25. Top Deck the Halls, I think that's 2020, $28 right there. Chaos Wrap, not Chaos Warp, $16. And one last one that I will mention, the most recent one, Season Sequels, very clever. Very, very clever. 2023, $14. So, where will the price of this one land? I mean, I assume the reason why the more recent ones are less expensive is because there's more of them out there. I assume, like, the Fruitcake Elemental, there's only so many that actually printed versus, like, they're printing them for more people. Yes, still a specific group. And yeah, not a giant print run, obviously, But yeah, the print run is a little different, so it is going to be probably more along the end of, if I had to guess, yeah, $15 to $30 or so. Not the Fruitcake Elemental, $205. That being said, again, if you want to play with this, you don't want to pay, for a specific kind of jokey-ish card that is fun and you're just doing this for holidays, and we want to collect the card, great, go for it. If you just want to play with it, ask your friends first and then ask them if you're okay with proxying it too, okay? So do that, and then also stay tuned for some commander suggestions right now. Okay, so these commander suggestions are going to come about in a couple of different sections and groups. Number one, the untap lands group. And first up, you really need to preface the whole thing with your table no, I swear this is not a Derevi stacks deck, okay? No, this is like a holiday themed Derevi deck, okay? No, I know that sounds like a joke. No, let me show you the card, okay? Are you okay with proxies? Okay, cool. Anyways, Derevi Imperial Tactician, a great commander for this brand new card. A 2/3 Bird Wizard flying for 3 mana in Bant. Whenever it enters, whenever a creature control deals combat to your player, you may tap or untap target permanent, pay 4 mana in total, put Derevi on the battlefield from the command zone. Basically, cheat on, your commander attacks, which is great for this. But also on top of that, of course, a commander that works very well with a flying men type strategy. Low the ground, evasive creatures. Get them out, swing, and hit your opponents, and all of a sudden, don't tap, do not stacks. Again, we talked about this before, right? We're not staxing our opponents with this holiday-themed deck, okay? What we're doing is we're untapping our lands. So again, we can drink whatever festive non-alcoholic beverage, as much of that as we can actually stand, essentially, right? Because we're going to be tapping our lands to untap them, to tap them again, to refill the thing. You can do a lot of it. You can refill an absurd amount of times. I mean, literally just be careful with whatever. Just be reasonable with whatever you're drinking, right? You can't drink 30 hot chocolates, okay? Just be reasonable with the amount of liquid that you're consuming, okay? Next up, Preston Garvey Minuteman. Again, just giving you the option to actually utilize your lands, not just for mana, but also for that hot chocolate or whatnot whenever you need to. 4/4 Human Soldier for 5 mana and 9. At the beginning of combat, your turn, create a green or enchantment token. Name settlement attached up to one target land you control as enchant land. Enchant land has tap at 1 mana of any color. Top of that, whenever Preston Garvey attacks, untap each enchanted permanent you control. So yet again, a way to say, hey, here's what we got. Let's get some auras on all of our lands or whatnot, and all of a sudden, those lands can be untapped so we can, again, just refill our mug of hot cocoa or whatnot again and again and again. Zolotac, I can never get that name right. The Smiling Flood, a 6/6 Salamander Serpent for 6 mana in Simic. There's a lot of S's in there. Whenever Zolotac, the Smiling Flood, enters the battlefield or attacks by flood counter target land, that land is annihilated to other types for as long as there's a flood counter on it. At the beginning of your end step, untap each permanent you control a flood counter on it. So, this one kind of similar to Preston Garvey, but instead of it being all about auras, this one's about counters on lands. So if you've got a variety of ways to get counters on land, I mean, some lands already just enter with counters, like the Vivid lands. Those enter with counters, so there you go. That being said, other types of lands can get counters, like some are like creature lands, you can get counters on them, etc., etc. Do so, end step, untap, refill that mug. Moving on, Belladros Witherbloom. This one might be the best option for you, depending on how you go about building this deck. This is a 4/4 Elder Dragon for 7 mana in Golgari. Flying at the beginning of each upkeep, create a 1/1 blind green pest creature token with, when this creature dies, you gain 1 life. Pay 10, untap all lands you control, activate only once each turn. The pests are nice just to get you that life back, but yeah, being able to pay 10 life and be like, yeah, my lands get untapped, that is huge. It's a great ability, number one. Number two, you can be like, yeah, I'm thirsty on your turn. I'll pay 10 life to untap all my lands to be able to refill my mug as many times as I can stand. Anyways, that is one way that you can go about it, of course. Another way, though, is Zakama Primal Calamity. This is a 9/9 Elder Dinosaur in Naya colors. Vigilance, Trample, Reach, enters the battlefield. If you cast it, keep that in mind, if you cast it, untap all lands you control. 3 mana in red, 3 damage to our creature. 3 mana in green, destroy target artifact or enchantment. 3 mana in white, you gain 3 life. This does a lot. It is a Swiss Army knife of commanders when it comes to abilities. That being said, you definitely can use and abuse that ETB. That being said, you need to keep getting it back to your hand, recast it to do so. There are infinite combos to do so as well. But yes, again, when it comes to the amount of times that you can utilize your lands, that is more so up to you and how much hot chocolate you want to consume. And again, I do say non-alcoholic hot chocolate, okay? All right, next up, when it comes to commanders that deal with counters, though, how about Shaline Halar? Yeah, that could be a disgusting card. With that one, a 3/3 Angel Elf for 4 mana in Naya. Flying Vigilance, whenever one more counters opponent creature control, Shaline Halar deals that much damage to target opponent. So again, this one more so plays into, okay, I've got that eggnog stash or whatever it was called, essentially, and I get that trigger on combat. I get 2 counters on all my creatures, which means, again, yeah, that much damage. Let's say I've got 10 creatures in play. That is 20 damage I am dishing out. Gross. Plus, maybe you've got some, ways to double up those counters or just get extra counters. You got ways or double damage, or there's a lot of ways you can take advantage of this. Lifelink on this commander too. Have fun. Sovereign, Oganek, a 3/4 Cat Noble, Ward 2 for 4 mana in Selesnya. Whenever this attacks for each creature controlled power greater than that creature's base power, put a number of counters on that creature with the difference. This one is literally just like, hey, you just need to adjust the base ever so slightly. So say, you know what? Okay, I've got these creatures in play. Oh, I got counters on them. That adjusted it. Okay, so getting those 2 counters on it means that all of a sudden, every single time I'm going to actually swing, I get to double it. Then double it again. Then double it again. You can do some really disgusting things with that. Speaking of disgusting, Hamza, Guardian of Ration, loves counters as well. 5/5 Elephant Warrior for 6 mana in Selesnya. Cost 1 that's cast for each creature with a counter on it. Creature spells you cast cost 1 cast for each creature with a counter on it. Here's the thing, again, by getting, again, it doesn't matter what the amount is, but in this case, it is 2 counters on your creatures. Congratulations, all your creatures getting counters on them, which means that, again, the amount of creatures you have in play is the amount you're reducing for this cost in every single one of your creature costs, which can be incredibly disgusting because one of the most powerful things in Magic is reducing cost. Because, casting things for nearly free or even free with, like, say, generic mana creatures, like artifact creatures, is pretty disgusting. So have fun with that while you're drinking your hot chocolate. Next up, Vorinclex Monstrous Raider. Gross! A 6/6 Phyrexian Predator Trample Haste for 6 mana in green. One or more counters put on opponent, you can a permanent or player, twice that many of each of those kinds of permanent player instead. Opponent put 1 or more, they do half that instead. So basically, you are, kind of ruining your opponent's holiday fun while doubling up your own because all your creatures are getting 4 counters instead of just 2 from your stash. And your opponents, again, only get half. So it's kind of like, like you're on the nice list and your opponents are on the naughty list. There you go. That's one way to look at it, I guess. Next one, though. We've got 3 commanders coming from the section Land Creature Fun Times. That's just how I'm calling it. Obun, Moldiah, Ancestor, a 3/3 for 3 mana in Naya. Elf Spirit. Actually, I was wrong. Sorry, only 2 creatures. Anyways, Elf Spirit, at the beginning of combat, your turn to 1 target land you control becomes an XX elemental trample haste slow turn where X is Obun's power. It's only land. Whenever land is battlefield, you control, put a counter on target creature. So this one plays into counters already, also plays into lands becoming creatures, which does actually kind of benefit you when it comes to, maybe having certain lands in play that you're like, okay, yeah, I've got ways to untap creatures, maybe like some Village Bellringer type effects to untap your entire team, maybe again and again and again. And ways to do that are a bit easier than untapping your lands typically. So yeah, being able to turn your lands into creatures, utilize those counters, a lot of exciting things you can do with this one. Speaking of which, Kamal, Fist of Crosa, somewhat similar to this one in a way. A 4/3 Human Druid for 6 mana in green. Pay a single green mana, target land becomes a 1/1 creature to turn until a land. Pay 5 mana in total. Overrun, basically. Creature control get +3 with Seer Triple till turn. First of all, I will say, kind of against the holiday spirit, but threatening the other people at your table is probably against the holiday spirit, but you can do that if you're like, hey, okay, I want to do what I'm doing over here. Like, don't disrupt me, okay? Don't you dare, Wrath of God. No Wrath of Gods. No Wrath of Gods at all at this table. You Wrath of God, I will turn your lands into creatures. It's not very holiday spirit of me, but that's what I'm going to do. So yeah, that is it's good board wipe protection, let's just say that. That being said, again, being able to turn your lands into creatures can be huge when it comes to untapping them with various effects. And of course, by turning your lands into creatures, again, before combat, if you've got the stash, all of a sudden you get 2 counters on all of those lands too. So building them up, getting them larger. And again, you can build them throughout the game. And also when you're ready, overrun type effects. So again, ways to turn lands into creatures can lead to, extra refilling of your mug and also extra damage with the counters. And also, you can do some really crazy things with, say, my last category, which is very specific, land creature untap potential. There we go. Anzrag the Quake Mole. I just want to point this one out. 8/4 Mole God for 4 mana and Gruel. Comes blocked and tap each creature you control after this combat phase, initial combat phase, by paying 7 mana in total. Must be blocked each combat this turn if able. This one is super easy to basically go infinite or near infinite with, and this one's just like, okay, cool, I give it indestructible. That is one way to literally just be like, oh, okay, all your creatures are gone most likely in combat. If you also have an indestructible creature, it's just infinite combat swings. Because of that, again, if you are able to turn, let's say, one of your lands into a creature, or just have a creature land that can turn to a creature, then that's actually infinite untapping of that as well. Again, it says untap each creature you control. It doesn't say untap each creature you control that attack this combat or whatnot, okay? It's not that specific. So just being able to untap again and again and again and again and again, you can do some really gross things with that, with, infinite mana, that kind of stuff, or just, refill your mug whenever you want to. So a lot of great options when it comes to commander selections. And also, again, when it comes to, like, the holiday spirit, there you go. If you're, you're celebrating Christmas, you got the red-green creature, cool, and you're like, okay, yeah, holiday theme. All Gruul. Yeah, Gruul holidays, huh? There you go. And with that, this episode is coming to a close. As always, comment below with your thoughts on it. And of course, as always, thanks again, and have a good one. This show and episodes like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. If you're looking for an easy way to help support this show, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Also, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any new episodes. You can also go check out our playmats and other merchandise at thecommandersquarters.com. Another easy way to support this show is with our TCG player affiliate links. So whether you're buying a deck or individual cards, you can use this general link right here or one in the description. And the final way that you can support this show is by supporting us directly by becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, and I truly couldn't do this without all of their support.